Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys, brought to you by the National Hockey Now Network. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, presented by National Hockey Now. Friday, March the 3rd, Ian Cameron and Alex B. Smith ready to break down the Friday card on this NHL trade deadline day. You wouldn't know it with the amount of trades and the quality, I guess you could say, of players that have been traded here on this trade deadline day. Of course, the worst kept secret in hockey is that pretty much all the big players and all the big names have moved prior to this trade deadline day. You know it's a slow trade deadline day when Nick Bonino and Dmitry Kulikov are the headline acts in terms of players that have been dealt here on this trade deadline day. But that's where we're at. Of course, much of the bigger fish, if you will, they were sent to their new teams prior to today. But we are still within the trade deadline period. We are less than an hour away from the deadline. So if there are any moves and any trades that are announced within the next hour before the deadline, we will, of course, mention them right here on the Ice Guys show. But, obviously, like I said, it's we knew this was going to be this kind of day where TSN and Sportsnet would have to probably recap all the trades that have gone on the last week or so on their trade deadline shows today, rather than breaking new trades that are just going down. So it'll be interesting to see, though, if we get these last minute moves. Maybe we'll have a flurry of minor deals here right before the deadline here, as again, we're about 45 minutes or so away. But yeah, Alex, I mean, this was definitely something we've been talking about now for several days on this show. It's that this trade deadline day, it's definitely not going to be one that's going to be filled with big time headline movement trades, because of the fact we've seen all the big moves made already.
Yeah, it's been more of a trade deadline week this year. And that's something we've seen kind of in recent years. We talked about how like this day kind of seems to be a bit more anticlimactic in recent years, because teams are in such a scramble to get everything situated. And they kind of, I think they realized what we talked about yesterday, the point we really hammered home about from the betting aspect of how we tend to wait and try to fill things out. They want to get these lineups gelled together, these lines that are going to be what these GMs and coaches are hoping to be the, 4 lines, 3 defensive pairings and goaltender duo that carries them to a deep playoff run. They don't want to mess this up. They want to get this right. They want to get everything in place. They want to find out who's going to work now on the power play and the penalty killing units. Who's going to be logging more minutes, guys who are banged up. How are we going to manage, do the roster management? Are we going to, scratch guys late in the year? The teams that are running away with things like Boston right now, first team to 100 points. Start looking at, okay, what guys do we have that we're going to call up? What guys we're going to rest? They have injury issues now. Marchand getting hurt. So they have a lot of questions to answer for things happening right now, and things are still moving forward. And I think that's why we're seeing, the big trades happening earlier and earlier, and the deadline day actually kind of, falling a little flat in recent years.
Yeah, and definitely, like I say, I guess if you're the Bruins, you're a little happier now. You have Tyler Bertuzzi, right? I mean, obviously, Brad Marchand, we'll have to see what the status for him is moving forward, but he gets injured against Buffalo last night. They announced that Taylor Hall and Nick Foligno are on long-term injured reserve now for the Bruins as well, so they're going to miss some time. So that's why you accumulate depth at this time of year, and we're definitely seeing that right now from this Boston Bruins team, the one team that can definitely probably survive that. All right, last night in the NHL, we'll recap the action. This is one of those nights last night where, again, we saw a lot of new faces with their new teams making their debuts. Gavrikov with LA. Of course, Ottawa and the Rangers, will start there. Jacob Chychrun making his Ottawa Senators debut. Patrick Kane making his New York Rangers debut. And what a road win for the Ottawa Senators. And I did have a piece of them at plus 145. The best bet on the show was an easy winner with the over there, Senators and Rangers. But what a gutsy win, Alex, for Ottawa. I mean, it didn't start well. It looked like Halak was going to be on his game. He was outstanding in the first period. Ottawa definitely had their share of solid scoring chances, but they just weren't able to finish off many of those opportunities in and around the net. But there is no doubt that Ottawa team was resilient. They were down 3-2. Obviously, they were up 2-1, down 3-2, and then they respond with 3 unanswered goals in the third period to get the victory last night against the Rangers. Can't say enough about how well Chychrun looked in this first game. There was a scary moment where he looked like he got injured, maybe severely, but he was able to return quickly to the game. A big sigh of relief. Could you imagine that if you're Ottawa? You'd trade for Jacob Chychrun. He's suffered a serious long-term injury in the first game. Thankfully, they avoided that. But no, it was an impressive debut from him. I can't say enough about Sanderson and Shabbat. I mean, Sanderson played a great game last night. He keeps getting better, that young defenseman. I mean, they've really got a nice core now on the back end that's so much stronger now, bringing in Chychrun to go with those two guys on the back end. You've got plenty of weapons up front with Stützle and Batherson and Brady Tkachuk and Claude Giroux, who is red hot right now for the Ottawa Senators. Very impressive road win, Alex. And really, they just bolstered Pierre Dorion's thinking earlier this week that this team is confident. They're playing well. They told me publicly they want me to help make this team better at the trade deadline, and I'm going to listen to them, and I'm going to, do right by them and agree to their request to make them better because they feel they're good enough to make this push for a playoff spot. I think they solidified it just a little bit more last night with a very nice road win at MSG.
Yeah, we were kind of critical, almost in a joking manner about, this Jacob Chychrun move of like, wow, this is really going to move the needle. And, I think I guess I did kind of mention it briefly about how this might fuel that team just mentally to play better hockey. And I think that's exactly what it's done. I think that like I said, they're buying into themselves now, which that's ultimately the goal and usually what happens on any team that ends up winning, making the playoffs, winning a conference, or winning a cup, they have to believe in themselves. And, obviously you need the breaks to happen your way on the ice as well. But having that belief now, I think, in looking at what happened, not only in the Ottawa game, but also looking at what happened to Buffalo last night, now they've got some real momentum going. And it didn't really seem like that to me even yesterday, but certainly in the last week. Okay, Ottawa, beat up Detroit twice. We big whoop. What are you doing there? But now you beat a Ranger team coming from behind, and a Ranger team that, of course, like we said, still needs time to gel and get loaded. But if Ottawa goes on and wins, let's say 3 of the next 4 off of this 4-game win streak, then we'll look back and say, well, holy shit, especially if New York goes on and gels the way we expect. Then they will say, okay, this is a real deal team. They beat a good Ranger team in the midst of this streak, and now they've put themselves in a position to fight for a wild card spot. Hell, maybe even can try to claw hard enough if they go on a real run and grab that 3rd spot in the Atlantic. So they've put themselves in a position that I personally did not clearly see them in this spot, even as far as yesterday, as soon as yesterday, I should say. So Ottawa, still worried about the goaltending issues, obviously, but like I said, their belief in themselves, at least it makes them a team worth betting on now in the future. Doesn't mean they're gonna make a run and get into the postseason, but for betting purposes on a day-to-day angle, Ottawa's a hot team right now.
They are. They're a go-with team, and I'm sure I'll be backing them next time we see them take the ice, which will be, unfortunately, it's Columbus tomorrow night, which, they're obviously going to be a huge favorite in that game, and they are over -200, but certainly might look at a team total over with this Ottawa team because they're flat out scoring goals in bunches right now. This team, they got everybody rolling offense for the first time all year. DeBrincat's rolling, Giroux's rolling, Batherson, Stützle, Brady Tkachuk. They're all clicking at once, and we're seeing they're pretty capable when that happens. You know how we've been talking for a few weeks too, Alex? Rangers and Devils and Leafs and Lightning are set in stone for the first round. Definitely you can say that about the Leafs and the Lightning. There's no doubt that's going to be a first-round series. We got to put up the Lee Corso not so fast, my friend, with this Devils-Rangers first-round series. Devils are only 1 point back of Carolina for first place now in the Metro Division. So this Rangers-Devils is not a fait accompli that's a first-round series with the Devils now right behind Carolina for first in that division. So we got to hold the phone on that. Definitely that being the first-round matchup at this point in time. Also last night in the NHL, hey, win some, lose some. I know that's the phrase that Mitch and Paulie use over on VSiN for the morning show that they do follow the money. But yeah, win some, lose some when you bet against the Boston Bruins, and you've been losing some a lot more than winning some this season. And hey, what can you do? I thought the spot was still great. I have no apologies for betting that spot and that price with Buffalo. And look, it looked like they had a chance to steal it halfway through that hockey game, but then all of a sudden the roof caved in and Boston exploded, and and when the Sabre defense becomes unglued, it can really get ugly. And we've seen that at times from Buffalo this year. But a 7-1 victory for Boston. Again, most of the damage done in the third period. But it comes with a cost. Again, Brad Marchand, let's see what his status is moving forward here for the Boston Bruins going into this, going forward. And of course, they got a huge game Saturday afternoon, ABC, first game of their doubleheader. What a game that is. Rangers and Bruins on Saturday afternoon. So very interested to see how that one goes. But yeah, Marchand, Hall, and Foligno now all battling injuries at this point in time for the Boston Bruins. So finally a little bit of a test here of just how much depth this team has moving forward. The Lightning still aren't right, Alex. A 5-4 loss to overtime to Pittsburgh last night. And I saw a lot of those goals given up by Vasilevsky. That was not a good game for him. There were some weaker goals. There were some short side goals. He was down too early. Giving up way too much of the net above his shoulders. Just the kind of shit that just you don't see from Andrei Vasilevsky when he's dialed in. And we saw it again last night against the Pittsburgh Penguins, who battled back throughout that game. It was a back-and-forth affair, and they ended up eventually getting the win in overtime. Hell of a night for Jeff Petrie as well on the blue line for the Pittsburgh Penguins. But, yeah, Tampa Bay, they continue to play in a little bit of a fog right now with their current form. And, unfortunately, they get a nice performance from Tanner Jeannot even though they lost, but not enough as they lose to Pittsburgh 5-4. And here's Pittsburgh now, Alex, 4 wins in a row. They're adding Bonino and who's returning to the Penguins from San Jose, Dmitry Kulikov on the blue line. Here's Pittsburgh once again. They go from, looks like this thing's falling apart, let's sell 2 weeks ago, to now all of a sudden they're buying. They're adding some pieces, not like big-time pieces, but some depth pieces that'll make them a little bit better. And they're starting to win some games again. They've got Tristan Jarry healthy again, and here come the Pittsburgh Penguins, very much a threat to make the playoffs now.
Yeah, they're kind of almost like we said with Ottawa, just getting this kind of surge at the right time. And like you said, with Pittsburgh, we've kind of felt, at least I have, where, okay, it's just kind of just up and down. They're streaky to the point of, you have to take everything with them week by week. And they're certainly not a team I would be looking to do anything futures wise with. They're literally a week by week, and hell, when they're struggling, they're almost a period by period team. The way you have to kind of look at them, something that we talk about a lot more in the postseason about the story mode version of looking at a series or a game. But as far as just right now, they're in a hot roll, and they also have the fortune of another team in the division kind of flipping out of favor in Washington right now. And it's funny because just taking a glance at the points in the standings, you see what we got 4 or 5 teams that have 65 or 66 points in the East. But it only really feels like maybe one of those 2 teams could make it in the postseason, where you look at that Metro, everything kind of log jammed, and it's like, Washington's right there. The Islanders are right there behind Pittsburgh, but at the same time, it's just like the Islanders just don't give you that comfortable feeling of that they can string together something. And that's the thing. Right now, the key is getting hot and going on a streak. What teams out of this East Conference do you trust to get on a streak? Right now, we see Ottawa doing it. We see Pittsburgh. We know Pittsburgh has the capability of doing that. Tampa Bay, for their struggles, they have the capabilities of always just turning things around and winning 3-4 games in a row easily. Those are the teams I look at where, the Buffaloes, certainly the Washingtons, and most definitely the Floridas, even though, like I said, Florida's kind of been a bit more up and down of late. Those are the teams I don't trust right now to string together wins or get the big win when they need it. We talk about must-win games now. But we always say must-win doesn't mean will win. And so that's the thing that's really shaking up now. And it's funny. I think this is change. We talked about this at the beginning of the year in November when we always talk about that's the barometer of who's making the playoffs. I think we have to get rid of that now officially. That you can't say a team's a playoff team by Thanksgiving, American Thanksgiving, or even Christmas. I think the new year has to be the new barometer for that. And even then, you still could stretch it further because there have been teams right now that seemed primed to make a deep playoff run that seemed like they were going to miss it altogether. And teams that we like to win, possibly win the cup or make it to the cup final may not get there. And when you start talking about teams like the Dallas Stars.
Yeah, exactly. There are just and Dallas, of course, not pretty last night, but did get the job done against the Chicago Blackhawks. And shout out to Matthew, not Matt, Matthew Murray for the Dallas Stars, getting his first NHL win last night in goal for the Stars in that game. What else do we have left? What a wild game with the Kraken and the Red Wings, back and forth, 5-4 win for the Seattle Kraken over the Detroit Red Wings as they get the job done. The Red Wings, of course, have definitely pulled into sell mode here at the trade deadline, which has continued into today. Jacob Vrana was sent to the St. Louis Blues earlier in the day. So interesting there. Oh, by the way, the Buffalo Sabres, there's a trade that's just been come to light. They have acquired Jordan Greenway from the Minnesota Wild in exchange for a second-round pick this year and a 2024 fifth-round pick. So there you go, Jordan Greenway off to the Buffalo Sabres. This is definitely a change of scenery type of thing here because it wasn't going well in Minnesota this year for Greenway. You know, it gives the Sabres a little more depth up front, someone with a little sandpaper as well, a bigger size forward. I think they need a little of that on the Sabres team. So I like that. They didn't have to give up much. Those are the kind of moves I like Buffalo making here, Kevin Adams, because you're not in a position where you're going all in this year. No way. You just want to – it's still a long-term process, long-term vision, and just a few tweaks here and there to end up trying to make this team better. So that trade just came across the wire. Also last night, again, Dallas 5-2 over Chicago. Minnesota 2-1 against Vancouver. Damn, that close to the draw, cashing in that game. But I'm still not shying away from really either of those teams in terms of draws, Minnesota or Vancouver, because Vancouver's played in one tight game, one goal game after another lately. So you might see that continue for them moving forward. LA 3-2 against Montreal. A big credit to Montreal, or LA rather, for powering through. They weren't at their best. They were off the long road trip. The Jonathan Quick stuff, I mean, that hit them like a ton of bricks, the emotion of seeing him traded. And yet they pulled it out. You know, they found a way. It was an ugly win. It wasn't pretty. They didn't play good at times, but they won. A win is a win. And Gabe Velarde had a beautiful goal in the third period to help them along. It was a great game from Kopitar. That's a professional right there, Alex B. Smith, right? Andrzej Kopitar. If that wasn't proof what a pro's pro he is, what a tough week it's got to be for him. No one other than him and Doughty was closer to Jonathan Quick, you know, and he talked about how difficult it was, painful it was when they first heard the news. And you could tell in the press conference that they were still shaken up. But he put it aside, and he played an excellent hockey game for the LA Kings last night, including scoring the game-winning goal. He has been in excellent form. That's why he's on Jay Kopitar. He's been just the ultimate pro his entire career.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, you know, we were kind of cautious with that game just off of the fact that, like I said, we didn't know how they were going to handle, being on the ice without a key member of that lineup. Sorry, just phone going nuts. But yeah, just but a big way to get the win, and a gritty 3-2 win, which that doesn't look impressive when you talk about playing against Montreal. But like I said, just knowing where they were mentally to grind out and get that win, that says a lot. And like I think that they needed that. They need those 2 points mean more than just 2 points on the standings. It means, okay, this is tough. We're able to rip the Band-Aid off now. Let's move forward and let's do what we need to do in this postseason run. And that's important. And that's the thing you have to see. And, we didn't see that. Obviously, of course, you wouldn't expect to see that from a Chicago team that's tanking it out of it. But you saw the reverse of that, where they're like, okay, the tank is fully on now. We just sent Max Domi literally across the hall after losing to Dallas, our divisional rival. And now everything's just kind of – so you're starting to see things settle in. And I think from a betting standpoint, that's what's important. Now we know, all right, Chicago is now at the bottom of the barrel. We know, a team like Boston, they're at the top. And now we got to figure out everything else shaking out in the middle. We got to figure out where things are going to land in the Metro, things are going to land in the Pacific. And I think we're getting that clearer vision out of that now. So with LA, I think that, that was a gritty win. And now we got the clear vision, and they have the clear vision in that locker room saying, all right, now we have the pieces we need. We made our moves. It was tough, but now here we are. This is the group we go to war with moving forward in the rest of the season and into the playoffs.
Yeah, definitely. And the LA Kings, that was not a great spot. Everything they've gone through, and they found a way to pull out that win. You give them credit for it. I said yesterday too about St. Louis, San Jose. Just bet some goals, and that's exactly what happened over the total in that game. I said just don't worry about a side, just bet over, and that's the plan played out that way. 6-3 in favor of the St. Louis Blues. against San Jose. Hey, Barabanov, I actually posted all my props for that game on Twitter about 10 or 15 minutes before the game started. And we got Barabanov goal at plus 300 and his point prop as well, hitting in that game, which was great to see. Kopitar goal prop in the LA game. So we had some good props with the ones we posted on Twitter for the two very late games last night. But 6-3 win there for St. Louis. And what I think there was one. Oh, yeah, Toronto, of course, 2-1 against Calgary. Calgary, another 1-goal loss? I'm shocked. Can't believe it. They couldn't find a way to win a close game again. It's only happened all year. So I can't say we're surprised by that. This time you can't even fault Markstrom. He was very good in that game. But again, Calgary damned by their inability to finish and score a timely goal and a critical goal. They just can't. They can't get offense when they need it. It's been that way all season. And it happened again for Calgary last night in that 2-1 loss. Joseph Woll continues to prove himself, too, as a really solid goalie, at least as of right now. He has some potential long-term. They played pretty well in front of him defensively. That was a good third period on the road, protecting that lead by Toronto. But Woll was very solid, very confident in net, which was good to see. And like I say, maybe he's got a long-term future. You know who doesn't have a long-term future in the music business? Anybody on TSN Hockey that put together that music video last night. If you were watching that game, I'm like, what's about to happen here, when they were sort of starting to cue it up. And then it came on screen. I'm like, good Lord, what the fuck did I just see and hear? And I was just I was mind blown coming out of that Bad for Bedard music video that was on TSN last night. There was one laugh out loud highlight. I mean, Bob McKenzie, who's been retired from Insider, he used to do the stuff that Elliot Friedman and Darren Drager and all these, Saravalli and all these guys are doing today. He's retired from that a couple of years ago. They called him out of retirement just to bang the cowbell in that music video. And that actually got a laugh out of me. But yeah, I was done watching that. I'm like, I don't know what to think of that it's stupid. It's ugly. It's awful. It's terrible. And yet some of it was clever and entertaining and funny. I just don't know what to think after seeing that, Alex. But what I do know is my mind was in a blur after that.
Yeah, you sent that to me late last night, and I watched it, and I was pretty much the same. Like, I had no idea how to really even react to that when I first watched it. It was, it's funny because I have to give credit to digital gambler Andy McNeil does work over at Visa, and he kind of called it out. He says, I'm just waiting for some stupid shit to pop up during the deadline day. And sure enough, that segment apparently is supposed to air today, and they actually, because all the moves were being made, they tweeted out and said we're going to show it early. And I don't know, they're trying to draw up something. I don't even know what they were trying to have a laugh, and it just didn't work out that well. I didn't think it was that funny. And I get it, making light of the situation, because obviously the league can't be too happy about teams looking to lose on purpose. So they're trying to spin it in a fun light, obviously. And, there's better ways to go about it. I thought the tweet that I posted on the Ice Guys account with "Thanks, Jonathan Quick," him photoshopped in like a random Columbus player's uniform. I thought that was a lot funnier than the TSN segment, because those are the things that are really just kind of like they're ridiculous, but they're important for business purposes in the league. The guys getting stashed away. I remember when Marion Hossa retired, they said there needs to be a appreciation night for him in Arizona. Like, things like that are kind of funny and quirky, and make fun of the weird things that go on in the NHL transaction department. But that sketch was just kind of lame.
Yeah, definitely. It's that was definitely didn't know what to I didn't know how to react after seeing that, quite honestly. But I do know how to react when I see Jimmy Murphy joining us on the Ice Guys show every Friday. There he is. I think we got him now. Jimmy, what's up? Can you hear me?
In stereo, apparently. Oh, there.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
we got you.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get you synced into my car here. 1 second.
Yeah, no problem. Jimmy is on the way, to a Don Sweeney press conference, I believe, that is going to start in 25 minutes at 3 p.m. Eastern time. So, and obviously there's a lot for him to talk about the last couple of days. Not just the transactions off the ice and re-signing Pasta and bringing in Bertuzzi, and of course Orlov and them earlier in the week and Hathaway from Washington. But it's also probably to talk a little about this, the Brad Marchand situation with the injury he suffered last night, and of course Hall and Foligno on LTIR. So when we get Jimmy back with us and synced up, we'll ask him about the Bruins here, and we're finally going to see this team's ability to withstand some injuries tested, because they really haven't dealt with any significant injuries for a long period of time. And we don't know the prognosis yet as at this point in time on Marchand, but it'll be interesting to see how. Actually, you know what? Marchand looks like, I'm actually seeing now, looks like he's survived anything serious. So that's a real good sign for the Boston Bruins. Yeah, Montgomery's saying earlier today they expect him, barring any setbacks, to play tomorrow against the Rangers. There you go.
And there's Jimmy, you ready?
I got you guys. You got me?
Okay.
We got you. There we go.
All right.
We were just talking, Jimmy. Looks like Brad Marchand escaped anything significant there with that hit and collision with Peyton Krebs last night against Buffalo. Montgomery's saying he's going to probably be good to go for that big showdown on ABC with the Rangers on Saturday.
Yeah, look, I'm glad. It's great news that he's healthy, of course. My thing is, though, and I think, I don't know if I was on with you, Alex, or somebody else when I did my show earlier. Why not rest him, though? Well, who cares? Mm-hmm. Start resting these guys, man. Start making if there's any question about his health, which there clearly is. I mean, something made him leave that game early. He's not going to do that unless something was really bugging him. I don't see the point in him playing tomorrow. But I guess they figure big showdown, like you said, ABC. It's against a team they could potentially face in the Eastern Conference Final way down the line. Maybe you want to send messages. I don't know. Who knows why? Yeah. But if I was the Bruins, I'm resting him.
So I'll ask you this then: would he be playing, in your opinion, tomorrow regardless, because they just feel, hey, he's good enough to play, he'll play? But let's say this was Boston versus Arizona tomorrow night, no TV, instead of no national TV, instead of a Bruin Ranger showdown. Would he be? You think he wouldn't play if they were playing in Arizona or a lesser foe?
No, I don't think he's in there. I think and they're going to deny that till the cows come home. They're never going to say, oh yeah, we did this for, just for show and for ratings and all that, and to put forth our best team on national TV. But I think that's exactly why he's in there tomorrow. I also, though, wonder, guys, now as we're speaking, sometimes I have these little light bulbs go off in my head. And now as we're speaking, I wonder, maybe they want him in there because Bertuzzi's playing in his first game as a Bruin tomorrow. Have a veteran like him, a guy who really, if you look at it, Bertuzzi's kind of like a Marchand light, same style of play, pain in the ass to play against. Maybe they think, hey, have this guy who he can maybe bond with, be able to talk to on the bench, in the dressing room. Maybe they want him around for that. I don't know. Maybe they just want him in there to help acclimate Bertuzzi. Who knows?
Yeah, that could be part of it too. But look, I'm glad to see looks like he's survived anything significant for sure. Yeah, go ahead, Alex.
Oh no, I was just saying, Jimmy, I did mention that with you when we were on your show earlier about resting guys and how today's moves, they aren't going to be the blockbuster moves that we've seen all week, but they're going to be these smaller depth moves that actually will be more important, especially for teams like Boston that need to rest. And once they've clinched the division, clinched the President's Trophy, there's nothing to play for. Then now that's when you need these guys to kind of move up in the lineup. And then we also talked about how, from the betting aspect, that's Ian's wheelhouse of the bargain bin. Having those guys third line, fourth liners that have to move up and play first, second line minutes in these games late in the year. And if they're playing against a team where they're playing out the string, it doesn't mean anything. Maybe they have a call goalie or something. Now you've got these great plus 400, plus 500 spots to get goals and shots on props and everything player prop related with guys who are moving around late in the season. So these moves may not mean much to the win-loss department as far as who gets in the postseason, who does what, who hoists the cup at the end of the summer. But it does have something to do, and it does affect us as bettors.
Yeah, definitely.
For sure, guys. And,
talk, Jimmy, about all the other stuff that's
been there, guys.
Yeah, I was just going to say, talk about Bertuzzi, Orlov, and Hathaway. The Bruins have been busy, and we haven't obviously talked since last Friday. So everything the Bruins have done the last week, what's your thoughts?
And I was just going to say, before I tell you all that, I just want to say a guy to keep an eye on, obviously, after the night he had last night, is Jake Lauko. This is a guy that I know the Bruins are very high on. They love him down in Providence, and they're going to give him every shot he can get to stick with this team for the playoffs and make the roster as an extra to sub in when guys get hurt. So that's a guy to keep an eye on going forward here. But as for the moves, look, man, I call him Trader Don. Don Sweeney has become one of the best GMs at the trade deadline in a long time. I mean, look at the track record over the last 5 years, what he's done. It's amazing, and he hasn't had to ship many. I mean, yeah, he's cleaned the cupboards when it comes to draft picks. They're screwed for the next 5 drafts, but in terms of trying to win a cup, they're going all out, and he didn't have to give much off his roster in terms of bodies. So I think he did a great job. Orlov is a guy that I think fits really well into their blue line, and all over so I think he did a job, and then great move by Sweeney to hurt. He gets those guys. He gets Bertuzzi as well. So Sweeney's done great.
Yeah, he's been busy. And look, how can you not say that Orlov Hathaway trade's hasn't been great so far? Look at Orlov these first few games, unbelievable. Like, he's not only doing his thing. We know he's a good defensive defenseman. We know shutdown D has always been his role. But he's shooting the puck. He's scoring goals. He's contributing on the power play. He's chipping in the points too. I mean, that's just an added bonus from him.
Yeah, guys, it's been great to see the way he fits in too, right? I mean, I like too the way that Montgomery is every game he's been with a different partner, right? So he's trying to find the right mix there, who's going to blend, but he appears to blend with anyone, and that's a great sign for the Bruins there. And it's funny, we had Mark Recchi on the trade deadline show I did today, right before Alex was on, and Recchi for the last few weeks has been just pounding. Orlov's got to go to the Bruins. The Bruins need to pick up Orlov. He is the perfect guy and sure enough, they go and get him, and look at how well he's fit.
Yeah, perfect fit. Perfect fit so far. There's no question about it. I just want to ask Jimmy, because I know Don Sweeney's got the press conference coming up, and that's where you're headed. How much time do you have?
Well, who knows with the way these things go. I mean, with my luck, right? I mean, I'm running a bit late, so this will be the one trade deadline post presser that starts on time. It's scheduled for 3 p.m. But I mean, I can't remember in the 20 years I've covered this game, I can't remember a post trade deadline press conference that has started on time. It's always usually we're pushing it back to 3:30. We're pushing it back to 4. One time they had a 3 o'clock that got pushed back to 7, and they only made one move in that 4 hours. So it's just,
that's ridiculous.
Who knows? It's a crapshoot.
Was it at least a big move? Probably not.
No. Actually, I think it was like Brad Boyes for a draft pick. Remember that name, Brad Boyes?
Yeah.
So
well, hopefully load up on catering. That's.
Yeah, right. Oh yeah, they usually they do. I'll give the Bruins credit. Well, it kind of sucks for me because I'm celiac, so I'm gluten free. But they do always put out a nice spread from this local pizza place called Pizzeria Regina. It's a famous place in the North End here, and they've got some great pizza. So they usually put out a shitload of pizza for the media there. That's why we're all fat.
I know, you just get fed so well by the spreads that are available to the reporters and the beat writers there covering these teams. All right, we'll stick around. You know what we'll do? We'll try to we'll get you out at 3, okay? Just in case it starts.
Sounds good. Yeah, because I might be
just
running
in case
right out of
this
the
is
car.
that one time they start. So we'll have you on for 15 minutes. We'll go through whatever part of the card till then, and then what's left, you can just say which games you like at the end.
Okay.
Is there anything else about the trade deadline before we get into tonight's card? Anything else, Jimmy, about the deadline so far you want to talk about?
Well, guys, I mean, I know everything's so fluid. In the last 10 minutes, I don't know what's happened because I've been in the car trying to hook up with you guys there. But I do know that a lot throughout the afternoon, I've got numerous texts saying, watch Vegas, watch Seattle. Has anything happened with those guys?
Nothing yet, believe it or not. But we still have 15 minutes. Yeah, we still have 15 minutes. And remember, there could be trades announced after 3 p.m. Eastern.
Exactly.
As long as the trade call goes through before 3 p.m. Eastern, but sometimes you don't hear the official trade until after.
Exactly.
Which I think we're going to get a lot of that because I know there's been a lot of trades that have been, like I said, we talked about, third parties needed to be in for cap retention and different things like that. So I think we probably will. It'll probably be radio silence next 15 minutes, and then we'll start getting some stuff in between 3 and 3:30. So.
Yep, definitely possible. There's no doubt. So we'll wait on that. And if we have anything more to announce, we will. There's been a couple minor trades the last 10 minutes, but they're so minor they're not even worth mentioning. Like the Radim Zahorna, Dryden Hunt for Toronto and Calgary, Scott Reedy, Jacob Peterson for San Jose and Dallas. So basically minor league players flipping places. Although Dryden Hunt's been in the NHL, but again, they've got too many forwards, so they decided to trade him.
I do want to say, guys, quickly, Billy Guerin's just kicking ass at this trade deadline. You see how he flipped Jordan Greenway, right? And then he saves some cap space, and then he goes out and he gets Sundqvist, who's a younger, bigger body, or not younger, but I mean a bigger body, just like Greenway. So great job by Billy Guerin so far.
All right, there we go. Good stuff indeed, definitely. And again, we'll keep you appraised of anything that comes through the wires here in the final 15 minutes. Plus, again, like I said, after 3 p.m. Eastern, we could have some trades announced as well. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, all right, let's move on. We've got ourselves a 5-game NHL slate here for this Friday night. We will begin with Seattle and Columbus. Seattle -165, road favorites, 6.5 the total in this game. Obviously, no Korpisalo, no Gavrikov. So what's that mean? That means Columbus is weaker in the blue line, much weaker defensively. That was their best defensive defenseman was Gavrikov. And obviously, Korpisalo was playing well. And now you've got obviously much weaker goaltending for the Jackets moving forward. And Merzlikins in net, who's had a rough season. He's actually been somewhat okay lately, but mostly on the road. He's still at home had his issues. I mean, his home goals against average is much higher than his road goals against average. So Merzlikins in net tonight for the Jackets. By the way, they've also lost a key depth center down the middle. 6-week injury absence now for Sean Kuraly, the former Boston Bruins, someone Jimmy knows well, oblique injury, and he'll miss the next 6 weeks. So that's unfortunate for the Jackets. Again, not so much a big offensive difference maker, but someone that's wins faceoffs, good defensively. Another absence that's probably going to make them worse defensively as well for this Jackets team. So that's not something you want to see. I'm very tempted to bet Seattle again, even though it's a back-to-back year for them. I mean, I just think Columbus is going to be a good go-against team. I might sprinkle a couple bucks on Seattle in regulation here. It will be Philip Grubauer, we assume, in net after it was Martin Jones last night, who did get pulled in that game. He had his little half-season anomaly of great goaltending, and now he's reverted back into the Martin Jones we've expected here as of late. So Grubauer finished that game. I think he was on track to start tonight regardless, and I think he still will end up starting tonight for the Kraken in this game. But the bet I really like in this game, maybe a small bet on Seattle in regulation, but the bet I really like is over 6.5. I definitely think you're going to see Columbus as a big-time over team moving forward. They're still capable offensively, of course, with what they've got up front with Gaudreau and Lyonnais, and look out for Kent Johnson and Marchenko and a healthy Boone Jenner. I mean, Roslovic. I mean, they've still got some capability offensively. There's no question about that. Adam Boquist, who I think might be a good prop look for the Jackets tonight. He's just been automatic with his point prop going over, and he's been getting great numbers, great prices with his point prop as well. So I think that's probably worth a look. You got to bet Jared McCann point prop in this game. You have to. It's only -135. You could even sprinkle on him to score a goal. What is he on, like a 7-game point streak right now for the Seattle Kraken? Shout out to Dean on Twitter. He did a same-game parlay, all of Seattle Kraken props, point player props last night against Detroit. He had Eberle, he had McCann, he had Beniers, he had Tolvin. He had all these guys that have been racking up the points most of the season for Seattle. Put him in a same-game parlay and won the same game parlay. They all got a point last night. So
and in like 5.5 minutes too. Like it was crazy. Like,
it was early. Yeah, exactly. You tweeted that out at us, Alex, in the first period, pretty much. Like it was that quick when they had that explosion in the first period. So that's a good prop look, is a lot of Kraken players point props tonight, highlighted by Jared McCann, because Jared McCann's been on fire for Seattle of late. And like I said, he has gotten at least a point in 4 straight games and a point for the Seattle Kraken in 9 of the last 10 games. That's my favorite player prop tonight, is just Kraken point -135 and over 6.5. Maybe a small look towards Seattle in regulation as well. Alex, Kraken, Blue Jackets.
Yeah, just like that old movie title, Moon over Miami. It's going to be goals over Columbus probably the rest of the way for the Blue Jackets. And we talked about it yesterday. This is one of the few totals that I like for tonight. Sides and totals are a little dicey with, like I said, having roster movements, going left and right. Not sure who the lineups are going to be until we see guys taking the ice on warmups, let alone not a whole lot of practices going on. So I like this over 6.5. Probably going to be riding a lot more 6s and 6.5s with Columbus until we see that number move to 7, because with the defensive depth and now the shoddy goaltending getting worse. It just seems like this could be a lot of games where they just roll out the puck and try to see who scores the most involved in the Jackets. So Seattle Columbus over.
All right, good stuff. Jimmy, what do you think here? Seattle Columbus.
Yeah, just ride that over. I'm going to do a double one. Give me the first period over and give me the total over.
All right, there we go. Good stuff. Winnipeg, Edmonton. We've got Edmonton minus 155, home favorite, 6.5 the total in this game. Keep in mind these two teams play again head-to-head tomorrow night in Winnipeg. So this is a back-to-back home and home between the Jets and the Oilers. Look, I think Edmonton really played well against Toronto. I mean, I know the Leafs were coming off the Springsteen. They made a big deal of that, the Toronto media. Oh, maybe you partied too much at the Bruce Springsteen concert that you were at. But nevertheless, I mean, I think it was just, let's give Edmonton some credit. They played well on Wednesday night against the Leafs. And Matthias Ekholm, you talk about someone that was desperately needed for this Oilers team. Matthias Ekholm's the perfect fit. They needed someone to shut down the opposing team, the best players on the opposing team. Ekholm will definitely help in that regard. And we definitely saw signs of that against Toronto the other night. He was very solid in his free. Like, he just got to the team that day, and he played an extremely solid, steady game in his own zone against a very good Leafs team the other night. It's just such a big defensive improvement that he alone makes for that Edmonton Oilers team. So we'll see how they fare here tonight against Winnipeg. The Jets, of course, have been slumping lately. It's going to be interesting to see if Kevin Cheveldayoff, by the way, does something here before this 3 p.m. deadline. The Jets have been surprisingly quiet so far. You know, are they going to just stick with what they've got, or are they going to try to upgrade here in the waning minutes before the deadline? But they've definitely had their share of struggles as of late. They'll be looking to turn things around tonight. That was a horrible loss for them against LA. They came out starting the way I thought, with Hellebuck playing for the first time after he got pulled against Colorado last Friday, but they had a big lead and they could not hold it. Kings come back and win in a shootout, 6-5 for LA over Winnipeg for the fourth straight loss for the Jets, just 1-6 in their last 7 games overall. They played well against Edmonton, Winnipeg. They've actually got a 6-2 record in the last 8 head-to-head meetings. And oddly enough, you know, last year these teams played. It was Edmonton winning in Winnipeg and Winnipeg winning in Edmonton earlier this season. So we'll see how they fare here. I mean, I just like Edmonton's form a little bit more. I don't like how Winnipeg's playing, but I don't want to lay $1.55. And Edmonton hasn't won 2 in a row at home in a very long time. That's one thing I've noticed. You know, getting 2 home wins in a row for the Edmonton Oilers. It's been a while since we've seen that for a team that hasn't really played great hockey at home. Like, they're 15-17 at home this year, Edmonton. So my thought process with this game is pass on the side. And if Winnipeg somehow beats Edmonton tonight, I think it's going to set up a great bet on Edmonton tomorrow night on the road where they play better in the rematch against the Jets. That's what I'm hoping for. Jets win tonight, and Edmonton, I'll bet them tomorrow night when they play in Winnipeg. Totals, I think there's reasons to like Edmonton a little bit under now with Ekholm there. They're going to start to get a little better defensively, but I want to see more evidence of that. So I'm off the total as well. Alex, what do you think? Jets, Oilers?
Yeah, I might grab this first game or first period over in game. Looking at Edmonton's first period mark, 4-2 in the last 6, but definitely don't want to look at it 2 and we want to lay 165, 170 with a 1.5. So that's the way I would be looking at it. I could see where this might be a bit of a kind of chaotic pace early and then maybe taper off a little late. So, maybe even a look at a full game under in game if you can grab a better price if we do cash that first period over. But like I said, these are two teams, like I said, with the home and home series, I'm just kind of going to watch and sit out, maybe look for some live bets. Like I said, if Winnipeg can win tonight, definitely would be tempted to maybe look Edmonton either side or team total over for tomorrow.
Yeah, so that's what we're both kind of like that. I think Alex and I are in the same boat. We kind of want to see how this game plays out. Yeah. Bet something live, and if we don't like anything tonight, we'll bet tomorrow night's game based on what happened tonight. And certainly that's my thought is maybe Winnipeg, wins tonight, and if so, I think Edmonton, where they play really well on the road, and they played well in Winnipeg in the past too, can win tomorrow night. What do you think here, Jimmy? Jets, Oilers?
Well, guys, I'll tell you too. I got to run here. I just got to the rink here for the presser, but I'll give you quickly. I like the Oilers in regulation for this.
All right, good stuff. And we'll run through the remaining 3 games here. Carolina, Arizona. Jimmy, anything you like there?
I'm gonna pass on that one.
Montreal, Anaheim.
Give me the Habs.
Yeah, Habs is a dog. I think that's I kind of agree with that. Like flip a coin, take the dog. Two teams rebuilding. Yeah, New Jersey, Vegas. Great game late night. What do you like there?
Ooh, this is going to be a good one. You know, guys, let me go with Vegas. I think they're going to go on a little roll right now.
All right, Vegas, and they got the job done against a very good Carolina team on TNT on Wednesday night. So we'll see if they can follow that up. All right, best bet, Jimmy. Any stand out? What do you like most?
We'll stick right there, Vegas, baby. Bruce Cassidy.
There you go, Vegas. Best bet for Jimmy against New Jersey. All right, Jimmy. We'll talk to you next Friday. Take care.
Yep, see you.
Sounds good, man. Enjoy, guys. Bye.
There we go. Jimmy Murphy. Moments away, we think, from a press conference, unless they decide to drop the bomb on him that you got to wait 4 hours like it happened before. But nevertheless, hopefully that press conference gets underway soon for Jimmy Murphy, involving Don Sweeney, general manager of the Boston Bruins. All right, Carolina Hurricanes, Arizona Coyotes. We've got Carolina minus 360, road favorites, 6 the total in this one. I like the Hurricanes here, minus a half, plus 110, first period puck line. I think that's the best way to approach it. You know, I always say at this time of year, look, Arizona's gotten rid of a lot of key pieces. Obviously, Chychrun being the big one, but other players sent away. Nick Bukestad sent away, who's actually played well lately for the Coyotes. Obviously, they still have Clayton Keller and Hayton and still some guys that are still there, but nevertheless, they've traded away a lot of these key pieces, and their blue line without Chychrun, even before, you know, when he was being sat down while they were waiting a trade to happen, they've really been giving up a ton of shots, a ton of chances. It's put a lot of rubber on the goaltenders, whether it's been Vejmelka or Ingram. They're facing a shit ton of shots every night. This is a Carolina Hurricanes shots on goal bonanza for me as well. We're targeting a lot of Carolina Hurricanes tonight, shots on goal props. Starting with Seth Jarvis. We're not bailing after finally losing one the other night. We're coming right back to it. You better believe it. We're not out until we lose 2. The old bumper stumpers line. That's the way I'm going about it here. And I think this is the night he gets back to getting the 3+ shots on goal. Arizona just hemorrhages shots on goal allowed to the opponent. So you could go with a bunch of different good options here in terms of shots on goal player props. Seth Jarvis, without a doubt, is probably number 1. Brent Burns has been shooting the puck more from the blue line, and this is a team that gives up shots to the point men. Marty Necas, who was outstanding, scored a great goal against Vegas the other night, even though they lost that game. Over 2.5 shots for him. Marty Necas, I think that can happen. Aho, Teravainen, Svechnikov, those are the group that I would target. All those guys over their shots on goal numbers. I think they all could get over because Arizona gives up 40s so many times lately in terms of shots on goal. So definitely Brent Burns to get a point. That's been a very good prop lately. Marty Necas, anything in terms of his props too, not just the shots on goal, but the point prop, the goal prop. You know, he's feeling it right now for the Hurricanes. Aho has been good, even a goal prop for him. So anything with Carolina, goals, assists, and especially shots on goal, worth a look. This team just gives up a ton of shots, Arizona. I think it happens again tonight. And I like the Hurricanes minus a half, plus 110 in the first period. I find with that bet, they'll be ready to go. They'll be focused from the drop of the opening face-off, you know, because of the fact they've lost 2 games in a row. Vegas to start the road trip, and then the Anaheim game, which John Gibson stole over the weekend against Carolina. I think now with 2 losses in a row, there's no taking the Coyotes lightly for the Carolina Hurricanes tonight. I think they come out ready to go, and they get the lead going into the first intermission. So first period puck line Canes for me. Alex, Carolina, Arizona.
Yeah, that's a play I like too, because I wanted to grab the over 3.5, but then when I saw it opened at 140, quickly went up to 160, 165. That was out of the realm. And I don't do a lot of live team totals, but I'm just going to go with this first period puck line. I said Carolina was just uncharacteristically, low with shot, not only volume, but even quality of shot. So I understand, maybe stacking some players together for, some same game parlays with those shots on goal props. That's definitely a decent look. But I think Carolina should take care of business and be able to kind of name their score here against Arizona. I think they're going to come out pissed off, especially in that first 20 minutes of play, and come out of there with at least a lead.
All right, so first period puck line. I'm tempted by the over for this reason. It's a good friend of mine, actually, Ski Prophet. I do an NBA show with him on Pub Sports Radio, and he's got access to the website he works for, Wager Talk. They've got Ralph Michaels, who does all kinds of database stuff there.
Wonderful stuff.
And he brought this up to me, that the over is like hitting at almost 80% in games involving teams in the game after they play in Vegas, the game before. And obviously we've got that here with Carolina. Like the over is just insanely profitable for teams playing their first game after playing in Vegas the game before. And here we are with and that fits this, and that this game fits that angle with Carolina because that's where they were in Vegas in their last game on Wednesday night. I mean, it's just I don't know if there's true logic behind it, like what the reason why this is happening, but it's like over 75% to the over. For the last, I would say, couple of seasons for teams that have been at for the game they play after being in Vegas in their last game. Crazy.
It makes sense because think about where the 4 usual destinations would be for a team leaving Vegas, right? Number 1 would be Arizona. Yeah. Number 2 would be Colorado, or then you go west to either LA, Anaheim. You guys even throw in San Jose at that point. We're talking about 3 of those 5 teams either being really bad defensively, Anaheim, San Jose, Arizona, really good offensively, Colorado, or just a team that kind of just plays a back and forth frenetic pace, LA. So that makes a lot of sense.
That's actually, you know what? Using that logic, I could see it. I could see it. You're playing either a bad defensive team, a good offensive team, or both. Usually in the game after you play the Vegas Golden Knights on a road trip. So, and even if you return home, off a road trip, say out east after playing
and
Vegas,
you're tired, and then
defensively mistakes creep into your game. You're tired, you're worn down, you're fatigued, and that's when you make mistakes defensively, and the games become higher scoring. So, so for that reason, I do lean. I might put a couple of bucks on the over, and just because of that trend and that angle. And by the way, Arizona might give up goals because you look at the last few games, they gave up 4 to Dallas, 6 to Nashville, 6 to Calgary. If Carolina gets to 4 at least, it's got a reasonable shot to get over. But again, you need something out of Arizona. That's going to be the question. But I still lean over with that trend. All right, good stuff. We got a couple of games left. Hit the like button. 183 live viewers back for the last 2 games on the Friday card right after we hear from Gramco.
Support for the Ice Guys is brought to you by Gramco. Whether you or your team's game is on the field, screen, racetrack, court, or the ice, Gramco is for the game. Grown by farmers who spent years developing premium hemp genetics, Gramco provides customers with consistent quality Delta 8 THC products ready for any occasion. Gramco currently offers numerous Delta 8 products, including vape cartridges, disposable vapes, pre-rolls, gummies, wake and bake coffee, and more. Gramco offers an enjoyable, legal high delivered discreetly and directly to you. Gramco is also available at many American retailers as well. You can get the best Delta 8 cannabis products on the market shipped quickly and discreetly from Gramco. And if you visit www.thegramco.com, use promo code ICEGUYS, you will get 20% off of every order, and any order that's on the site over $50 will be shipped free with standard shipping. So live elevated with Gramco and check out their wonderful Delta 8 products today.
All right, we're back here on the Ice Guys. We have 2 games left on this Friday slate. Montreal, Anaheim. Anaheim minus 120 home favorites, 6 the total. In this one, the Canadiens on a back-to-back. Valiant effort from them last night in LA. Maybe took advantage a little bit of a Kings team coming off a road trip with the Jonathan Quick emotion of that trade just taking place. We'll see how they fare here tonight. Certainly on the Anaheim side of things, Dmitry Kulikov was traded earlier today. We're still waiting to see if maybe John Klingberg is going to be on the move in a last-second deal potentially. And again, the deadline is just passed, by the way. It is after 3 p.m. Eastern, but we still might have a trade or 2 announced here in the next few minutes as maybe a couple of trades just slip across the wire right after the deadline. So we'll keep you apprised of anything if there is. But for me, even with the Montreal Canadiens on a back-to-back, there's either bet Montreal or don't bet a side for me. At least in this game. And it will be Sam Montembeault in net, you would expect, on the back-to-back. He's played pretty well at times lately for the Montreal Canadiens. No confirmation who it's going to be in net for the Anaheim Ducks, but assuming he's not dealt, and there was some talk maybe if the offer was really, really strong, they might even deal John Gibson away, but we got to assume right now he's still a member of the Ducks. No deal has been announced. So I'm sure if he's still with the team, he'll be the goaltender tonight for Anaheim in this one. I kind of like the over a little bit as well. 2 teams going nowhere. Kind of like the premise with St. Louis versus San Jose last night. 2 teams going nowhere. No one needs to pay too much attention to defending. You might see these teams trade goals back and forth. I'll say this about Anaheim, too, during their recent last 4 games. They've scored some goals. 4 against Washington, 3 against Carolina, 4 against Chicago. 3 against Washington. The Ducks have scored 3+ goals in their last 4 games, 4, 7, 11, 14 goals in those 4 games combined. So I think with this total being 6, the over's worth a look. Alex, what do you think here? Habs Ducks?
Yeah, I guess it's so we're not hearing anything about Montembeault being moved either. I mean, you mentioned about John Gibson, but I know Montembeault's name was kind of being tossed around too.
Yep.
So
That's true.
He's going to be
Nothing
staying
yet.
pat as well. So, at least nothing yet at the moment. This is a game I'm probably going to just completely pass altogether because it'd have to be Habs or nothing. But I haven't really been thrilled about betting the Habs of late. And like I said, this could be one of those games where, especially if we do talk about the goalies being moved or people being flipped around, maybe just roll the puck out, playing for exercise, kind of an overfield, much like that St. Louis San Jose game potentially. So this is one I don't even want to take a stab with. I'm just passing it.
Yeah, he scored last night. Josh Anderson, it's a broken record. I get it, but Josh Anderson overshots. Josh Anderson to get a goal, to get a point. They're all worth a look. Matheson, the defenseman's been shooting the puck more. I like his overshots on goal as well for this game. And you're right, Denis Gurianov, just recently acquired from the Dallas Stars, shooting the puck a lot and finally got his first, well, not finally, it's only his, I believe his second game with the team, but got his first goal with the Habs last night against LA. I don't mind looking at Gurianov, goal and point props, definitely. No issue there. I think definitely you could find the back of the net. And sometimes you like to get, a guy that gets a change of scenery sometimes can get on a roll. Look at Beauvillier with Vancouver. So maybe that's going to be the case here for Gurianov here in Montreal. All right, probably the game of the night here. Last up, New Jersey Devils, Vegas Golden Knights. I'll be listening to the Vegas feed just because I prefer the Vegas feed. Dave Gosher, Shane Knighty do a great job. Vegas minus, actually it's New Jersey, I should say, slight road favorites, minus 115, 6 the total. So I'm just not stepping in front of Jersey right now. I mean, they're lighting up the scoreboard. I do worry though after that explosion against Colorado, just a crazy game, 7-5. This is what worries me about the bet I like in this game, which is the over. Maybe they get back to, as Alex likes to say, low and slow here in this game. And Vegas has certainly been trending under. They've played pretty solid defensively, but I also look at it as, Vegas, they played Carolina. Carolina plays low and slow, trying to slow it down. And it's a totally different style that Vegas sees tonight compared to Carolina. This team's just go, 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 shot out of a cannon type of hockey, night in, night out from the New Jersey Devils. And I think it might sweep Vegas into playing a little bit more pace-driven hockey game here tonight as well. So, and when you factor in Adin Hill, who's been absolutely he's been really good, let's be honest, for Vegas since he's taken over from Logan Thompson. And from what I understand, he is going to start tonight. And it is now confirmed Adin Hill is going to be a net. They're not going to throw Jonathan Quick in there right away, the newest member of the Vegas Golden Knights. So it will be Adin Hill. But if you look at it for Adin Hill, he's played Nashville, he's played Minnesota, he's played San Jose. He's played some opponents that aren't going to test him like New Jersey will offensively. And I think the one time he did was the Tampa Bay game, and Tampa Bay scored 4. Vegas won that game 5-4, but he did give up 4 goals to the Tampa Bay Lightning, Adin Hill. So this will be a good challenge for him with just the firepower the Devils have, especially now getting Timo Meier from the San Jose Sharks. So I like this over 6 here with this one in this Devils and Golden Knights game. I'm torn on the side. I'm tempted. This is the one game I'm tempted by the draw tonight. Devils and Golden Knights. I could see this one going to overtime. I could see a close game, competitive game. I don't think New Jersey's going to go in there and blow out Vegas. I don't think Vegas is going to blow out this really red-hot, surging Devils team either. So the draw is definitely kind of appealing to me. I'll probably put a couple shekels on that along with the over. And damn well what I'm definitely betting tonight in this game as well. You know what? 7-game streak with a goal, 7-game streak with a point. Dawson Mercer, we're riding that thing until the train falls right off the tracks at this point in time. And Bet365, I swear their hockey odds makers or the hockey component of that sports book has no clue what's going on. None. Zero. They have plus 350 on Dawson Mercer to score a goal tonight. Plus 350. Over at Bet365. I mean, that is an outrageous price. I'm happy. It's outrageous in a good way. But I mean, if you're an odds maker and you're trying to stay on top of setting good numbers and prices in the NHL, you've not done your job with that price. I mean, this is a guy that scored in 7 straight games, and he's plus 350 at Bet365 to score a goal. Even just to get a point, it's minus 110 at DraftKings. Even money for Dawson Mercer to get a point, and all he's done is get one in 7 straight games. for the Devils coming into tonight. So, yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. The Mercer props keep padding our wallets, and hopefully they do so one more time tonight. Alex, what do you think here? Devils, Golden Knights.
Yeah, it's so crazy because I just right now on Bet Online, I just took small shots with both Mercer to score and to get a point. Plus 200 and minus 114. So big difference there. So yeah, Bet365 will sleep at the wheel with those props. But hey, that's the beauty of it. You shop around, you find the better price, and you hammer it. But with these two teams, like I said, yeah, Vegas, especially at home, they're the under kind of team. Like I said, low and slow like a beef brisket. But New Jersey, they're pretty much like frying shrimp in a wok, the way that they are going to look, like I said, when playing.
Oh, I think we lost Alex here. Here on the show, but he was definitely yeah, we lost Alex. Hopefully Alex will rejoin us here in a few minutes. We're about to wrap up anyway, but yeah, I like the over. Small shot on the draw, and the draw is a nice price here in this game with the Devils and the Golden Knights. You can get it north of plus 300, and absolutely Mercer to score a goal, Mercer to register a point, as we've been doing for multiple games. We got Alex back now. Alex, yeah carry on with what you were saying.
Not sure where I left off, but I was basically saying that Vegas is the beef brisket. They're the low slow team that usually try to play under, especially playing a lot of tight games lately. New Jersey's the kind of fast team, and you mentioned about how they're going to look much faster than what they saw with Carolina, who kind of played and matched their style a little bit. So like I said, they could draw Vegas out of their normal element. We know they have the horses to play up tempo offensively. So I do like that draw, or like the over, but not as much as I like that draw. And I think this is going to be where the last game you should have cashed that draw. Like I said, that was you had the right idea with that with Carolina Vegas, but that was because of the slower end teams. They're not going to take too many chances. The shot quality might not be as clean. I expect there's fewer shots from Carolina, of course, in that game. But sorry, and so now
one of those days, folks.
It is, yeah. Sorry. So basically, this feels like a higher scoring draw. I could see, like I said, not necessarily it's going to be all 2-2 at the end of 20 minutes, and we're just going to end up being a complete barber. It's not going to be like New Jersey, Colorado the other night, but I think we're going to see lots of chances. I think we're going to see a bit more physicality, which could lead to some power play chances, and I think this could be just a higher scoring game that happens to go into overtime or a shootout. So plus 320, I'm not the only person who thinks that, obviously, by seeing that kind of a price. 320 is worth sprinkling on the draw, and look for taking a shot with the over. You might even be able to get a live over 5.5, honestly, here. I know I've seen, some minus 130 for the alternate odds. Don't do that right now. Maybe for some of the teams like a Columbus or something, when you see those 6.5s and 7s, you want to look for those alternate pregame odds. I wouldn't recommend that for certain games. If you're seeing 6s now, just wait and grab the 5.5 a few minutes into the play.
There we go. Good stuff there from Alex on this game. He's liking the draw. I'm liking the draw. He's liking the over a bit. I'm liking the over. And I think he's even probably going to sprinkle on Dawson Mercer tonight as well with the goal and the point props here in this one for the New Jersey Devils. That's a great late night game. I mean, I'm very intrigued by it. You got the defensive. They've been a good, hard-nosed defensive team. Aiden Hill's been good in net against this high-scoring juggernaut and this offensive machine that is New Jersey. That's going to be a fun game to watch tonight in the late-night hours with the Devils and the Golden Knights. We do have one trade of significance to talk about just coming through the wire. John Klingberg has been traded to the Minnesota Wild. So there you go. Terry Edelman doing a dance and doing a jig somewhere in his little wild man cave room or whatever he's got there in his place. But yes, John Klingberg has been traded from the Anaheim Ducks to the Minnesota Wild. We don't know what is going back the other way to Anaheim yet, but we do know that John Klingberg is going to the Minnesota Wild.
And I would have to think there's got to be a third team involved to take that $7 million cap hit with Minnesota. We just talked about it before the show, before we were on air, about how we're wondering where he get moved. How could he get moved with that hit, and what other team could take that place? And we were saying, well, Minnesota, Arizona will probably be out because they've already been, picking up salary in these other deals as a third team. I'm really stunned by that. So I'm interested to see what's going to Anaheim and there's got to be a third party involved.
Yeah, and of course Minnesota now with this little run that they've put together, now they're thinking, how do we make this team better? As it looked like they were falling out of the playoff race even for a moment, but they've steadied the ship to a certain degree lately, although they've won nothing but a bunch of tight, low-scoring, close games. But hey, it's the formula that is working right now for the Minnesota Wild. And they bring in John Klingberg, who had an atrocious start to the season in Anaheim, but was playing better with the Ducks just prior here to the trade deadline. All right, good stuff. That is the Friday NHL card. Great stuff. Hit the like, 200 live viewers, exactly. Yes, 200 live viewers currently on YouTube. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. Check out patreon.com/iceguys. Just $10 a month. Goalie charts, totals charts, power ratings, daily Ice Guys show betting card, tons of bonus content. We're going to have lots more coming in the weeks ahead. So make sure you sign up, patreon.com/iceguys, just $10 a month.
Absolutely. Also check out the Ice Guys store, iceguys.myspreadshop.com. Spring is on the way. It's getting warm here already for sure. Get hoodies, caps, t-shirts. We got some mugs. We got things for your dog. We got all kinds of stuff. Check out the shop, iceguys.myspreadshop.com.
Good stuff indeed. All right, we go wrap the show up with best bets in just a moment right after we hear from Manscaped. Support for the Ice Guys is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Their products are precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped's Performance Package, the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. Join over 7 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you, 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the promo code ICEGUYS. That's promo code ICEGUYS at manscaped.com. If my math is correct, it's about 14 million balls that you can preserve. The Performance Package 4.0 is the complete accessory package to take care of everything that is required. You've got, of course, the Lawnmower 4.0. Takes care of your facial hair and among other things. You've got, of course, the Weed Whacker. I'm approaching 40. Nose hair has become a major issue. It pisses the hell out of me. I need to take care of that shit, and the Weed Whacker can help you do that. Both of these products, waterproof and a 4000K LED spotlight for a more precise shave. And you'll also be able to take care of those delicate areas with the ball toner, with the ball deodorant, keep you smelling good, looking good, and feeling good down in the nether regions. This complete Performance Package 4.0 will take care of everything for you, for all you guys out there, and it's courtesy of our good friends at manscaped.com. So get 20% off and free shipping with the promo code ICEGUYS at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. And use promo code ICEGUYS. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. All right, it is time for Best Bets here to wrap it up for this Friday edition of the show. Alex, we'll start with you. What do you like for Best Bet?
We're going with New Jersey, Vegas, draw, plus 320. Like I said, it should be a fun one. This is going to be a great late night affair for sure. Definitely expecting some goals both ways. Like I said, both teams have been running hot in their own ways. And of course, obviously, points are a premium right now for these teams that are trying to make their run into the postseason. Let's go with New Jersey and Vegas. The draw, plus 320. That's my best bet for this Friday night.
All right, good stuff indeed. And a shout out to one of our loyal viewers, Jamil, there for that draw recommendation as the best bet right there for Alex B. Smith. New Jersey, Vegas draw for Alex with his best bet on this show. All right, best bet here for me on this Friday slate. This one is nothing I love. I'm going to go with that over in the Columbus game. Seattle Columbus over 6.5 minus 120. Let's roll with that. Goals. I think in that one. Kraken Blue Jackets over 6.5 minus 120 for my best bet for this Friday card. All right, that'll wrap it up. Thanks to everyone for joining us. Hit the like button on the way out. We appreciate it. Join us tomorrow. Huge Saturday slate, massive one, starting at noon Eastern. We'll have our guy Kevin Beach, who's with us on Saturdays, of course, joining the show as well. Looking forward to breaking down the Saturday card. Join us for that. A reminder, the Ice Guys is live Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and more. Download the Ice Guys podcast when you can't watch the show live. For Alex B. Smith, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Friday night. Enjoy the games and good luck, and we will talk to you again tomorrow on Saturday for another edition of the Ice Guys presented by National Hockey Now.